Children of I want to talk to your manager parents. What has been your most embarrassing experience? One time my granddad got a sausage roll at a football match during halftime. When he got back to his seat he found it was overdone. The pastry was quite burned. The man was irate. He didn't take it back straight away as the second half was about to start, but he spent much of the second half angrily lamenting his savory snack let down. So he takes it home, calls the customer service number on the back. I assume he had a few choice words for the poor soul on the other end, but I wasn't present for this, and keeps the remainder of the sausage roll in the freezer for the next couple of weeks. Skip ahead to the next match day. My granddad tells me we're heading out early so he can have his sausage roll replaced. The customer service line told him to go to kiosk 3 at the front of the ground next to the ticket office. When we arrive, however, the shutters are down at the food place. The old man looks around growling and turning red in the face, stamps right over to window number 3 of the ticket office and slams his frozen burned sausage roll down like a flaky gauntlet. At this point I'm trying to convince him the ticket office was a completely different department to the catering concession, but my granddad was having none of it. The lady working the ticket window continually attempted in vain to convince him the same. They sell match tickets, not hot snacks, but this just got him angrier and angrier. Across comes a colleague behind the glass. Now there's just 2 people to rage at. Then a head steward comes to attempt to defuse the situation and my granddad begins to wave the burnt sausage roll in this man's face. I was actually surprised he didn't whack him with it. At this point I'm mortified by the whole affair, wishing I'd have stayed back at the house until nearer kickoff. Eventually, after an hour or so, the shutters come up on the food concession. Fella at the counter goes, "You must be Mr. Alaginge," and calmly resolves the situation, dispatching a freshly baked sausage roll with the steady hands of a surgeon. My granddad is completely satisfied with the result of his hour of insolent rage. As we're walking away he turns to me and says, "That's how you get these things sorted. Every time after they get what they want they just look at you smugly and say, and that's how it's done, lol. Like they're so proud and just taught you some amazing life skill." I was 13 when this happened. My mom had made a reservation at a hotel for a trip, but when she got there the lady said there was some error with the reservation and that my mom's payment didn't go through. So the lady offered us a double bedroom for a discount. Rather than just taking the room, thanking the lady, and leaving, my mom decided the best course of action would be to scream, in the middle of a hotel lobby, "Nobody is going anywhere till I get my room." She then proceeded to pester the lady, who clearly couldn't do anything about it, until eventually she called the police on my mom for public disturbance. Mortifying. I'm not trying to justify her behavior, but did the discounted room cost more than the reserved room? I could see someone getting angry. BC it might be a bait and switch situation. Yeah, I agree. This sounds very suspect. I got a call from a hotel I stayed in one night claiming that I damaged the wallpaper in the room. I had barely been in it long enough to damage anything. I just slept in it and showered. Obviously, this made me angry because I thought they were going to charge me to fix something I didn't do. I tried to be as polite as possible and the lady said she wouldn't charge me, but I had to ask her it about 5 more times out of paranoia. And I of course checked my bank statement to make sure. That sort of thing really leaves a bad taste in your mouth from an establishment. Not my parent but grandparent. When I was around 10 years old my grandmother went out and got us, my brother, and me, McDonald's. We got home and we didn't have napkins in the bags. No big deal, right? We have paper towels and napkins in the house. Also me and my brother are pretty good with not making any messes while we eat. Nope. Grandmother got us in the car, drove back to McDonald's, demanded a manager, and screeched about how upset she was that we didn't get any napkins. I wanted to just melt into the floor and disappear. "It's just napkins, nanny." She drove all the way back over napkins. I don't even consider driving back if I get someone else's order entirely. I'd rather just be done with going out and eat. I do not understand the amount of energy she is willing to dedicate to such pettiness. It was horrible. I pleaded for her not to go, and especially not to make us go with her, but she wasn't having it. It was so embarrassing, not to mention that we had left our food at home and it was cold by the time we got back. McDonald's fries just aren't the same cold. When I was a young child on a long distance flight, my mother let me and my brother sleep on the floor. For safety reasons, the flight attendants told my mother that we were not allowed to sleep on the floor. She started to argue with the flight attendants, who then turned to the pilots. The pilots threatened to turn the plane around unless we get up from the floor, but she continued to argue. The pilots announced they were about to turn around because of my mother, so all the passengers got pissed. Eventually she caved in when she had all passengers and flight crew on a Boeing 747 against her. I like that a parent got hit with the "I will turn this thing around" card. The lack of common sense to realize that sleeping on the floor of the plane is not a good idea just baffles me. I was a flight attendant, and the amount of people who would put sleeping babies on their tray tables still baffles me. You know that thing's not stable, right? If we hit moderate turbulence, do you want to peel little precious off the seat in front of you? Or the overhead bin? I found that the best way to get this point across was think diving board, buoying. Before Value Village, Savers in the States, I think, changed policies. She would cut tax to get discounts since the cashiers would basically make up whatever price they thought it would be, on the spot. If they highballed it, she would get a manager involved, and I hated that. Lots of second-hand thrift shops now have a rule that items without tags will not be sold, likely for the above scenario. I was with my parents on vacation and the hotel put charges on the bill by accident. My mom marched to the front desk and demanded to see the manager. There was a long line, but she cut right in front of it. The manager wasn't very helpful, probably because she was rude. So my mom went to all the other customers in line and told them that the hotel was a scam and they were ripping us off with fake charges. She made a scene. The hotel called the police and we were escorted off the premises by actual cops. I died inside. There really is an art to stuff like this, and your mom obviously doesn't have it. You can be mad, just don't be rude. I remember a time we were on a Vegas trip with extended family. Cousin was having a super trashy wedding there, and my aunt and uncle booked a room in the Luxor, non-smoking. They were given their room key. It was a smoking room. My aunt was pissed, but with all her fury she spun up some charm as well, and they were upgraded to one of those rooms that were less rooms and more like 3-bedroom apartment. You gotta not be triggered when you're mad, and people will give you everything to make their mistake go away. I was at the Tropicana 22-year-old kids, with my GF, buddy and his GF, sharing a double queen room. Wake up after first night, ants on my toothbrush. I called the front desk, and they said they were going to send someone up. Wait, an hour goes by, and we are still waiting. I call again, still polite, but now very firm. This is unacceptable, and we need this resolved in the hour. They sent a bellhop to upgrade us to an penthouse suite. The people who are helping you want to help. The customer just needs to let them. That's the kind of thing that makes you never want to be seen with your parents ever again. And they did it while you were on vacation, no less. Great way to spoil your memories. Why don't you want to be seen with us? Are we an embarrassment to you? You remember what happened at the hotel? Ugh, my dad. He can be such a prick if you get his order wrong. It could be fast food or a nice sit-down restaurant. He often yells at waitstaff if they undercook his steak. It has to be well done or he claims to have lost his appetite. One time we went to Burger King when I was younger and we sat down to eat. He took one bite of his burger, spit it out and immediately started complaining about it being undercooked. He cut in front of everyone in line to yell at the cashier. Then he asked who was the cook. When the cook appeared, he launched his burger, hitting the poor kid directly in the face with a lidless burger. He's now banned for life from Burger King. My father-in-law hasn't thrown any food at anybody yet, but damn is he concerned about undercooked food. He's convinced that medium steaks shouldn't have any pink, and that the warning at the bottom of your menu about undercooked meat, fish, and eggs is so the kitchen can just run your food through a warm room rather than cooking it, and there's nothing you can do about it. We've tried to explain that the warning is there for people who order meat less than well done, or only eggs or sushi, but he's just an idiot who thinks he knows everything. Drives me nuts when we go out for breakfast and he wants eggs that are cooked completely through, but with no brown bits on the bottom. Like he thinks the overworked cook has time to babysit his eggs. My mum demanded to see a cafe's hygiene certificate when she saw an employee go from cutting cake in the kitchen to handling money at the till, even though the real problem is going the other way. Like and subscribe for more daily Reddit videos.